Hello, and welcome to episode 98 of Anime Territory. I am your host this week, Benjamin Shabbing, and with me as always is my co-host, Johnny Shark Kick Ruhal.
Shark Kick. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is that from the one that we watched together?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that was the name of the manga, but...
Yes, that sounds
That's
right.
what Google said.
Okay. Yeah, I want to watch Shark Kick. Can we watch Shark Kick?
I wish. That was awesome.
I got a Shark Pirate Magic card, the draft I went to, and I'm like, man, I'm not going to put this card in my deck, even though I'm running blue. I'm not going to put this card in my deck, but I have to pull it. It's a Shark Pirate. It's cool as hell.
Today we are not talking about Shark Pirates. Instead, we are going to talk about all of the anime movies I watched in 2024 that we have not previously talked about.
Yeah. Do you think you're going to watch any anime movies after this? We're recording this on 12/11. There are 20 days left. Do you think there's going to be any more anime movies that you watch this year?
Doubt it.
Okay. Now, what about... Never mind, I'll talk to that off mic.
Okay. Is it the one you were looking at the other day?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. It's for a future episode. There's a series we want to cover that has a movie. Are we going to watch that if we cover that series?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The one that we want to do for episode 100.
Oh, I don't know. That's interesting. We'll talk about it.
We're not going to watch the prequel/sequel.
No.
The midquel. We're not going to watch that. So,
I don't know. Anyways. So yeah, I have watched 6 movies. Mainly because I went on 3 plane rides this year. So I had time to watch movies.
You took a plane to a place and then drove back?
Mm-hmm. Which I swear I watched 2 of the movies actually. So yeah, I just took 2 big trips this year.
Yeah, okay. And one of them we watched in the house together.
Yes.
But the rest of them you think you watched pretty much on plane rides or drive back.
There is one I watched by myself at home.
Okay.
All the other ones were during a trip.
I would like to try to figure out which one that is.
Okay.
I know one of the ones that you watched on the plane because you told me, because I was also on that plane. Mm-hmm. I want to try to guess which one was the one that you watched at home. So don't tell me.
Okay.
And obviously the one that we watched together. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any questions before I start?
What order are you gonna go in order from least favorite to favorite?
No, this is order of how I watched them.
Okay, so chronological order of how you watched this movie. Do you have rough dates and times of when you watched them? That might give it away.
Nope.
Okay, so don't tell me that. So even if you did have it,
I could give you a guess, but I didn't write them down.
Don't, because I know when your 2 trips were. So
okay,
roughly.
All right. So the first one I am going to talk about is called The Imaginary. It is on Netflix. It is from Studio Ponic, which, if you don't know, is the studio that is, I think, founded by some former Ghibli animators.
Is it the one that's got like a bunch of Netflix movie deals?
I think so.
Okay.
This was on Netflix.
Yeah.
So this came out in 2023, but I watched it this year.
Yep.
The basic plot synopsis is that after an accident, Rudger, an imaginary friend, must go on an adventure through the imaginary world to reunite with his creator, Amanda, before he is forgotten and disappears.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a premise.
Yeah, whatever. That's the premise.
Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts on this one?
So this one, it looks really nice.
Okay.
It is fun, but kind of boring, if that makes sense.
Okay, but boring in a good way or boring in a I'm distracted way?
The second one.
Okay. Because like Banshees of Inisherin is boring in a good way.
Yes.
don't know how else to describe it.
So this one might be more geared towards like a chat, like a younger audience. It's very bright, vibrant, but these stories kind of
simple.
No, kind of the opposite. It's kind of weird.
Okay.
It goes in places, places that I didn't grab my attention. Things that I think could have worked better. There are some good emotional moments to it. And it has a really creepy villain. But other than that, again, it's good, not great.
Okay. Is it worth my time and is it worth our listeners' time to check this one out?
I would say unless you're super bored, it's probably not worth your time.
Okay. Yeah. But it's not a terrible
waste of your
time.
Sorry, I was gonna base this on like it's holiday season, so like if you're with family.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I forgot about that. So if I refocus to that, you're with your family, and you're just like, I want to show them an anime, but like they're not anime people. Do I show them this movie? For this one, I'd say if your audience is little kids, go for it.
Gotcha.
I think this one will be a little bit more.
But
it's
not
kids.
Going to get past the defenses that an anti-anime person has up.
I don't think so. No. Okay. It doesn't.
Like
it doesn't cross that barrier.
Okay. Because like I showed my parents The Wind Rises, thinking that might cross the barrier, and even then they were like, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but it's basically like half documentary, mature story, whatever. I can't win with you folks. Yeah. So this one, kids, sure. Adults, no.
No. It's not going to help them any. Second movie is Words Bubble Up Like Soda Pop. This was released in 2021, but I just watched it this year, and it is on Netflix. Premise is Cherry is a shy guy who expresses himself through haikus. He has a meet cute with Smile, an online personality person. Just a teenage girl.
Yeah.
Who is self-conscious about her buck teeth.
Okay.
So she's like wearing a mask through most of the story. But the story is, again, kind of centered around their budding romance, centered around a mall, and them trying to find a lost vinyl.
Trying to find a lost vinyl?
Yeah.
Okay.
On record.
Does it lean into that and have like a dope soundtrack, or the soundtrack kind of blah?
It's not memorable. I don't remember any songs.
Okay.
I think there is one song that's like on the vinyl, I think. That's good. But other than that, I don't really remember anything.
Okay. Because like I could see it being like, well, we watch Kids on the Slope for this show, the early days of this show. And it's like, oh yeah, the music in that is like just kind of baller.
Okay.
But this does not.
This one isn't centered around like finding the vinyl and then like listening to the music on the vinyl. It's literally, we found the vinyl.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just more like, okay, if you're having an adventure where you're trying to hunt down music, it might be cool to just have some cool music, you know? Like,
I gotcha. No, this is more focused on like their relationship, their meet cute, their blossoming romance.
Yeah.
Less on the music.
Okay. I would say opportunity missed there, but okay. So, would you watch this with your family?
Probably not. This one is more geared towards teenagers.
Okay.
So this one's like probably 14 to 18. I think would really like this one. It's super colorful and like artistic and stylized. So if you really like art, that type of art, I think you'll really like this one. And it's a solid story. It's like a rom-com almost.
Yeah. So you wouldn't show it to your family because you don't really have any teenagers in your family at this point.
Correct.
And even if you did have teenagers in your family, they'd have to be teenagers that like anime for this to really appeal to them. Because teenagers, kids, you can show them an anime and it's just a cartoon.
Yeah.
Adults, you show them an anime and it's just a cartoon, but negative connotation.
Yeah.
Teenagers, yeah, you could get some of them. Some of them are going to be too cool for cartoons, and some of them are going to be anti it entirely, and some of them are going to be all for it.
This one would help if you already like anime.
Yeah. Or
I don't know.
I
if,
would even say animation.
I don't know if a newbie would vibe with this.
What about somebody that hasn't really dipped their toes into anime, but has an appreciation for animation still as a teenager?
I think they'd like this.
Okay.
Again, it is the art, and yeah, the art's really good.
Okay. So it might appeal to like a Disney girl or something, not to put people into boxes, but
yeah. Yeah, I think so. Sorry, I didn't rate these. These are both like 7s, I would say.
7s. Okay. Is it worth my time to watch this one?
This one I think you would like.
Okay. I do love rom-coms.
Yes.
So
this is a rom-com.
I'm not a teenager. I'm 30.
There's not much drama. I don't know
Okay.
if you like more.
I don't like it to get too spicy. Okay. Like the spicy shows are the two spiciest ones I can think of right now are like Domestic Girlfriend and
Oh, it's not that. No.
Rent a Girlfriend, where it's just like those are too spicy. I like a little bit of spice, but
I guess I don't mean spicy. I mean more like dramatic.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like it sometimes, and other times I like. Okay, let's take 2 of my favorite rom-coms in the last couple years.
Okay.
Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. That's
okay.
got more drama in it. Pseudo Harem has got like no drama in it, and I like them both. Okay. So it just kind of depends on if things are executed well.
It leaned more towards pseudo harem, but there is a little bit more to it.
There's a little bit more drama in there. Okay, that's fair. Pseudo Harem, is that one of my favorite rom-coms the last couple of years? It's one of my favorite rom-coms from this year for sure.
I think that's a pretty good comparison though, because pseudo harem is very much a rom-com.
Yeah,
not a rom-dram.
And then I mean, yeah, it's some romantic comedies have drama, but that one is definitely more comedy and romance than any drama per se. Yeah. So okay, yeah, this one would appeal to my tastes.
Yeah, I think you'd like this one.
Okay.
Again, I don't think you're gonna love it or anything, but I think you'd find enjoyment.
It's worth for me to check out.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, all right, I'll have to check that one out then. And that's Words Bubble Up Like Soda Pop.
Words bubble up like soda pop.
Like soda pop. Nice cold
soda pop.
What is that from? We quote it all the time.
That's the other guys.
That's from the other guys.
You got so much to live for. No, like ice cold soda pop.
I had a nice cold soda pop today. It was pretty good.
Also, ProZD recommended this movie earlier this month.
Oh, was this one of the ones that he talked about recently? He had a video of like 10 anime movies that are not my favorites, but I like them.
Yep,
sort of thing. Yeah, I watched
that was on the
video.
list. So, okay, next one is Blue Giant, released in 2023, also on Netflix. All these are Netflix except the one we watched together.
Yeah,
because I can download and watch offline. So the premise is Dai Miyamoto moves to the city to become a jazz saxophone player. He's only been playing for roughly 4 years, but he practices every day. He joins a band with 2 other players and follows their journey to become the greatest jazz players of all time. I think this is a super popular manga that they turned into a movie. This movie kind of rocks.
Okay. Now this one was also on ProZD's list recently.
It was?
I
don't remember this one on the list. Okay. So this one, again, it's mainly just almost feels like they could have made this into a show if they wanted to, but it just compacts that story into a movie, which I think works in this case. Because basics from what I read is like the first chapters of the manga is just him learning. It's like him becoming the saxophone player, and then it gets into his move to Japan. So like this one just takes all that out.
Yeah, that's what I think ProZD said. It's like, yeah, I just kind of skipped the first arc because we don't need it.
Yeah, that's not needed. But yeah, this movie just rocks. It's a jazz, so there's a bunch of music and a bunch of jazz.
Yeah.
And I always like it when jazz is in a movie.
Now, you don't listen to jazz outside of stuff, but if it's in a movie or a TV show, it's pretty dope.
Yeah, because they have to make it good.
Yeah.
But yeah, animation is good. They do use weird CGI sometimes when they're playing the instruments.
Yeah, because they're not going to want to hand draw like the fingerings accurate for shit like that. So that's a pretty staple thing in anime is that if it involves like actually playing the right chords or the right notes or whatever, then and having intricate fingerings, it is going to switch to like a more CGI based thing. And when they can do that without going to CGI, it's awesome.
Yeah. So okay, they do not use CGI for the last scene.
Okay.
And that last scene is amazing. It kind of culminates into this final concert that they do, and that concert is great. You've seen Damien Chazelle movies? He's done Whiplash, La La Land.
I've not seen Whiplash or La La Land.
You haven't seen those?
I really need to. Whiplash is Me Man Teaches Boy Drums?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I need to see that movie. I recommended that my mom get that movie for a nephew for Christmas last year because she was getting movies for other people, and like one of my nephews is a percussionist.
Yeah.
Or I should say was a percussionist. He's not in high school band anymore, and I don't know what.
Part of this movie
you have to become an adult at some point. But
B Man teaches boy drums, but there's no Me Man.
Okay.
Boy just teaches himself drums.
Anyway, I'm just like, that's a movie about a drummer. Keep in mind, it is more about abusive relationships, I think. And
this isn't that. More just like the performances.
Yeah.
Like Whiplash ends on this amazing drum solo performance.
How would it rank with like a performance? Now, I know that this is kind of cheating, but like Inu O, is that the movie we covered earlier? Where it's set
Uwasa, isn't it?
Yeah, Masaki Uwasa, and it's like those have got some really great performances. Keeping in mind that they can do like a fantastical element to add to it, but is it something kind of on that level, just minus the fantasy parts?
Not necessarily the artistic levels, but music level, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've never seen Whiplash.
I've never seen Whiplash. I'm sorry.
But yeah, his movies just usually end with like a really great like ending music sequence, and again, that's what it reminded me of. It's one of those endings. Cool. Story like before that, it's good. I wouldn't call it like great. It is kind of generic in a way because it is just him forming a band and that band getting good.
Yeah.
And then kind of getting some plot armors, not armor, but like they need to do something, so they're actually going to get this.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a whole though, it's really good.
Yeah.
Again, I would recommend this one.
This one is Blue Giant.
Okay. In terms of should you watch it with your family, again, probably it's not going to sway anybody. I don't think.
It might
if
be
if they already know anime and like anime, they'll probably like it. But
it sounds like it might not appeal to children so much, unless the kids are really into music.
Yeah. If you have kids who like music,
then yeah. But it just sounds kind of like not. I don't want to say a boring plot, but it's not something that a kid would be interested in. Yeah. Unless they were interested in music a lot. So, but it could be something that like a teenager who's starting to get into music, could like.
You like jazz?
but it's not going to blow. It's not going to change your parents' mind and decide, yeah, okay, yeah, I guess you are an adult. This is for adults. It's not going to change their mind.
No.
Okay.
All right. So the next one is the one we watched together.
Yeah.
This one is Look Back. It came out this year and is on Amazon.
Yeah. So I can talk a little bit about Look Back. Look Back rules.
Yeah.
It's only like an hour long at most.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 50 something minutes, 58 minutes maybe. There are. I don't know, do we want to go into spoilers for Look Back?
Not yet.
Okay, maybe we'll get into spoilers for Look Back after we talk about all the other movies. But animation is great. The story is fun and then sad and then fun. The manga that they make, Shark Kick, is cool. I want to read that. It's got some stuff going on, some like twists I wasn't expecting. Like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing this now. But I really liked it. The emotions were there.
Yeah.
So I give it like an 8 or a 9.
Yeah, that's what I gave it. Oh, I gave Blue Giant an 8. I give this one an 8, maybe 8.5.
Yeah. I don't think it quite reaches 9. It could. I don't know. Sometimes I feel stingy and sometimes I feel too generous. Yeah. An 8 feels too stingy and 9 feels too generous. Cut the difference, 8.5.
Again, this one is just it's beautiful. The animation's great. The story's good. It's emotional. Only an hour.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It doesn't feel like rushed.
Mm-hmm.
And it honestly feels like they get a lot done in an hour for not feeling rushed. So, kudos to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like they tell more in an hour than like One Piece can do in like 10 episodes.
I'll do a synopsis real quick.
Okay.
Or not synopsis.
Premise.
Fujino is an outgoing manga artist for her school magazine or newspaper. I don't know what it is. Anyways. She sees the work of a recluse, Kiyomoto, and strives to become as good as her. It soon blossoms into a partnership/friendship. And kind of rivalry in a way towards in the beginning. But yeah. Again, beautiful, short, emotional. Great, definite watch.
Yeah. Doesn't overstay its welcome. Doesn't rush too fast.
Mm-hmm. Say if you're going to show your family anything, it'd be this one.
Yeah, this one's kind of got that mature gut punch to it. You know, like, hey, this is a piece of art as opposed to this is, you know, a movie or whatever.
I just remember that beginning scene where they like show her manga.
Oh yeah, that part rules. Yeah, it's like, so silly.
Okay, this is awesome.
Yeah, that part is we'll watch it for that part alone. You can turn it off after that. Well, don't turn it off after that, but you could turn it off after that and be happy.
But yeah, did you want to spoil anything?
Well, maybe we'll talk about Look Back at the end, maybe. Okay. I'll kind of ponder if there's anything else I want to say spoilery about Look Back.
Okay. Next movie I watched is Her Blue Sky on Netflix. Came out in 2019. Aoi is an aspiring bassist who wants to move to Tokyo to join a band / stop burdening her sister, Akane, who has raised her since childhood. Aoi encounters the ghost of... a spirit of Shino, her Akane's former boyfriend, who left for Tokyo after Akane decided to stay and raise Aoi. The thing is, Shino's not dead. It's like the spirit of the person he left behind when he moved, if that makes sense.
Okay. Sorta, yeah. I get it. I get what they're doing there as far as not a ghost per se, but okay.
It's like Shino and Akane are dating. Akane stays. in their hometown because she has to raise Ao because their parents died. And then Shino leaves for Tokyo, and it's like 10 years later. And the city they live in is doing like a music festival. And they hire some guy to perform at the festival, and Shino's in that band. So he's back in town, and he's a completely different person. He's not this energetic, music-loving guy. He's just kind of an ass. So it's just kind of more... That spirit is supposed to, like, show the person that Shino was as opposed to who he is now, and it's kind of just trying to... Movie's trying to get it to where Shino's now a mixture of the both, if that makes sense. This movie's okay.
Which one is this called?
Her Blue Sky.
Her Blue Sky. Okay.
The story is, it's a little scattered. It's disjointed at times.
Yeah, it feels like it has concepts that are going to go over people that aren't used to weird concepts head.
What is it? Again, this movie is like based on a band and like a music festival, and there's like no music.
Yeah.
There's no focus in it. I'm just like, I kind of missed something here. But yeah, again, this is whatever.
I'm just imagining, like, in a music festival, they could have, like, they can just, like, cut, when a scene ends, they can just cut to, like, some other band that we have no relationship to previously in the movie.
Twin Peaks to return it?
Yeah, when they just kind of, like, they start a set or they start a song, and we get to see that band perform for a little bit, but then the song kind of fades to the background, and then it's still playing, but now we're in a scene with the characters that we know, and the music informs the tone of the scene.
It doesn't take place during the festival. It's like
I'm just saying
up to the festival.
That would be something that I think would be really cool.
But there's like scenes where they're like starting band practices, and then they just don't play. So it's just like, I don't know.
I'm just saying how I would have made a movie that takes place around the time it was a music festival. Is I would intersperse acts that then, would inform the tone of the scene.
I think there's too much going on in this story. It needed to be more concise, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you. So don't show this one to the family. No. Too confusing. Is it worth me watching?
You might like it.
Okay.
I'd say if you're bored, you're looking for something to watch, you might put it on, but I give it a 6. Okay.
All right. Well, 6 is not terrible, so it might get a watch at some point. But is there any scenes in it that are like, yeah, that scene kind of ruled? Because even like a cruddy movie, if it's got a scene that rules, it might be worth a watch.
Nothing that comes at the top of my head.
Okay.
There's a weird one where they're like flying. I wouldn't call it good, but it's interesting. Other than that, I don't really think so.
That's fair. I'm just trying to think, before we put it down completely, like, okay, is there anything that holds merit? And maybe if people are listening...
I mean, it's not bad.
Disagree. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, if you disagree and you think this movie rules, let us know. Okay. Or don't let us know. We don't give a shit.
See if I'm missing something. Yeah. All right. So last one is A Whisker Away. Netflix, 2020.
This one, I feel like I kind of know the premise. Did she, like, turn into a cat and she's got a crush on a boy? The boy doesn't know that she as a girl exists, but, like, cuddles with the cat or something?
Kind of.
All right. Yeah.
Mio is a 14-year-old girl who gets a mask that turns her into a cat when she wants to. She uses it to get closer to classmate Hinone. She is very forward with him in human form, but he doesn't reciprocate the feelings. Mio then must decide if she wants to stay a cat forever and be close to Hinode, or come to terms with her human issues and remain a human. So it's basically she turns into a cat to be close to this guy. Guy obviously doesn't know she's a cat.
Yeah.
And, So it's not necessarily... he doesn't know she exists. It's more he just doesn't know that she is a cat also.
Gotcha. And he doesn't really... When I said, like, she doesn't know that... He doesn't know that she exists. I more just meant the fact that, like... Yeah.
It's more like he's emotionally distant in a human as a person. Doesn't really show much emotion. But when he's interacting with her as a cat, he's a lot more emotional. Shows his emotions. That's what she likes about him. But he just doesn't do that with her as a person. I didn't like this movie.
You didn't like this movie?
No.
Okay.
Something about it just rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know if it's because... I don't know.
You also watched this after kind of a long 4 days of not a lot of sleep, too.
I felt fine.
Okay.
I think I got enough sleep on that trip.
Okay.
You didn't.
No, I did not.
That first day was rough, but after that, I got enough sleep. Okay. I wouldn't call it a lot, but...
You had the advantage of most of the time you got back to the hotel before me.
Yeah, and I just fell asleep before you got home.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I had to listen to you snore. Sometimes you didn't always snore, but there were times.
That's why I put headphones in.
Oh, you put headphones in when you're sleeping in the hotel?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Until they died, and that's when I woke up.
I don't think I could fall asleep with headphones in. I don't think I could do that. I think it would be too uncomfortable in my ears.
It's not great on the ears, but once you find a spot, it doesn't really
Anyway.
matter. Anyways.
So I know you watched A Whisker Away on a plane.
Yes.
Would you watch A Whisker Away with family?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Should I watch A Whisker Away?
See, I don't know. You might like this stuff. I just did not like it.
Okay.
Again, I don't know. The concept is just too weird for me, I guess. It's like her turning into a cat. And she's kind of weird about it. She's like super into it in a weird, like, uncomfortable way for me. And then there's just the bad guy is just like a weird cat who like tries to take people's lifespans away. That's his thing, is like he'll get people to turn into cats and then
he'll get the extra years they would have lived as a human or whatever. Okay. All right. Well,
there's like a subplot with her family, like her parents are divorced. Her mom's just not there anymore, and she's not really connecting with her stepmom, even though the stepmom's trying. And she just comes off as kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Unreasonable, kind of.
Which the daughter comes off as unreasonable. Okay.
Which I guess I can't really talk anything about that because I've never been in that situation. But it's just like she's trying.
Yeah. You're
just kind of blowing her off.
Which I think is a valid response for a teenager in a situation like that, and a new adult trying to become your mother is disconcerting, and like as much as it comes from a place of love, it is kind of like, okay, teenagers are gonna angst. I'm sorry.
Yeah, again, it's
which can be understandable but not enjoyable to watch.
It's essentially her just trying to like avoid the hardships in her life by becoming a cat and just trying to whisk it away, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Whisker
Away. Okay.
But
negative,
I give
negative
it like,
1 comedy point for that. I'm sorry, Ben.
That's fine. Yeah, so I gave it like a 5.
Okay. So I am going to try to make my guess as to which one of these you watched at home and which ones you watched on a plane. So I know A Whisker Away was on a plane because after the plane ride, you told me I watched A Whisker Away. Can you list out the other ones? So there's Blue Giant. I know you watched Look Back at Home. There was
Her Blue Sky.
Her Blue Sky.
Words Bubble Up.
Words Bubble Up like Soda Pop.
Soda Pop. And The Imaginary.
The Imaginary. I'm going to say you watched Blue Giant at home. No. Is it Her Blue Sky?
No.
Oh. Okay, which one was it then?
I watched The Imaginary at home.
Oh, you watched The Imaginary.
And I'm pretty sure you saw me watch it.
Okay, that's... Okay.
You were at work.
Okay, but, in my defense, you said that this was in chronological order of when you watched it. So this would have been like, I don't know, February
It wasn't that long ago. I think it was more like May or June.
Okay. When did you go on your family trip?
October.
That was in October?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was so late in the year, but okay.
I watched Words Bubble Up like Soda Pop and Blue Giant on the way home from Boston in a car.
Okay.
Maybe in Ohio, I think specifically.
Yeah. That trip was your parents were already there in a car.
Yes.
And you flew out halfway through the trip or whatever, and then you drove home with them. So, okay. I didn't realize you drove home for that trip either. So, okay. All right. I guess wrong. I was trying to think, you had the trip early in the year, and then you had the trip just now that we got back from. But no, it was October. It wasn't that early. Still, 6 months.
I would say, again, for the ones I would recommend, Blue Giant, Look Back, and Words Bubble Up Like Soda Pop. Those, well, you already watched Look Back, but those, Blue Giant and Words Bubble Up, I would say you should watch. The Imaginary, I think you can kind of skip unless you wanted to show something to your nieces and nephews. Yeah. For whatever reason. I mean, you should show them a Ghibli movie, but...
Yeah, they have more Ghibli movies to watch.
But, like, if you're at like, your parents' house, you don't have access to them, and for whatever reason you have Netflix, it might be something you can show.
Yeah, it's going to be the opposite. We're going to have access to HBO Max there and not Netflix.
Okay. Because
my parents, I signed into my HBO Max at my parents' house over Thanksgiving to watch Mythbusters. And nobody in our family has a Netflix account, much less my parents who are...
Okay. I'm just asking.
Yeah. My parents don't watch a lot of TV.
You might like Her Blue Sky, but I don't know.
Okay. And the only one that you would really recommend showing to adults would be Look Back. And the only one that you'd really recommend showing to children would be The Imaginary? Okay.
Blue Giant you can show to people, I guess, if they like music. I don't know, people just might like Blue Giant. It's got a good vibes. It's got some emotional beats, too.
So I have the distinct disadvantage in my life that I love my parents, I really do, but they just don't understand my taste in things. And I don't necessarily understand theirs.
Well, my parents are supportive, but they're just like, I'm not watching this.
Yeah. Which, I mean, again, my parents are too.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, I can watch pretty much live action. What are the biopics of like inspirational historical figures or something? So like my parents like Lincoln and Hidden Figures.
Okay.
So if you can get something in that vibe, I think they'd like it.
See, my parents are more TV people though. Is my issue.
Yeah. So my dad really only watches TV for like sports.
Yeah. And
occasionally like a sitcom. Like, I think they used to watch Mike and Molly.
Oh, yeah? I watched some of Mike and Molly.
And I think my dad used to be more into, like, sitcoms or whatever. Like, I think he liked Cheers and Wings.
I just don't think they make good sitcoms much anymore.
No, they don't. Well, they don't make them...
like they used to.
Yeah, there was, I would say, golden age and then a silver age of sitcoms. And I'm putting, I don't know which one is which, but there was like the era of like Cheers and Frasier and, where everybody is watching sitcoms. Then there is the era that...
like Friends might be going there too.
Yeah, Friends in the very tail... Friends is kind of in between. Friends saddles the line. Because the next era I'm thinking is more like the 2010 era, when we have stuff like Community, Parks and Rec, 30 Rock, The Office.
Yeah.
And there were some other shows that didn't last as long that were still funny in there.
What is it? What is it on the Sunset Strip? I can't think of it. Go ahead.
Anyway, like that one is like our...
That would be like, yeah, that's our era of sitcom.
Yeah. Now, which one is the golden? Which one is the silver? It depends on if I'm talking about best. I like that era of sitcoms. There's not as many laugh track shows. They kind of get rid of the laugh track in that era, but it's not the same wide stream appeal that that something like Cheers and Full House had.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, Friends kind of straddles that line of being traditional first era sitcom and being more our generation sitcom, which I think we're just a little too young for. That
I watched a lot of Friends on our trip.
I watched a lot of Friends growing up, but it was kind of like not quite for me when it was airing. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's something that we're like, oh yeah, we watch Friends. That you know that thing that you've seen a million sitcoms of, or a million reruns of. If you actually watch it now as an adult, it's funny. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, okay, I get it. There's jokes about sex. Okay, I didn't understand that as a child, but I still watched it because it was on TV. And I just think sitcoms need to kind of evolve. I mean, the fact that The Big Bang Theory was like the most popular show forever doesn't help the sitcom genre, because I don't like Big Bang Theory that much. I don't have anything against it, I guess, other than just I don't like laugh track shows that much. But
that one is just, to me, it's not creative. It's very just like
pandering.
Yeah.
I
can watch an episode and be like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I've watched quite a few, but I've not like watched it religiously or anything like that. That Howard goes to space at some point. Mm-hmm. I've picked up things, but I just don't know if there's gonna be a good sitcom, and when there is, it's probably going to be like a single season show that's like really funny but doesn't get anything.
I will say I do watch Abbott Elementary.
Yeah,
I do like that show.
Yeah, that's currently airing one. Is there any other currently airing sitcoms that I think are worth it? Mm-hmm. Or I'm just almost thinking just currently airing shows, like, comedy shows that are worth it. So like, it's not necessarily super current, but it's relatively recent. Was the Kunk on Earth, like, comedy history show or whatever, like that? I could see something like that kind of taking the place of sitcoms, where it's just like this dry, short premise sort of thing that's absurdist at times. Like, I can see that kind of filling the hole that sitcoms.
It's not really a sitcom, but I also did just watch Man on the Inside.
Okay.
It's kind of a comedy. It's not a sitcom, though, I wouldn't say.
Okay. Yeah, well, what would you consider, like, The Good Place? Because that's relatively recent, too, and that was pretty good.
Uh-huh. See, sitcom means situational comedy, right?
Yes. Which is kind of vague term that you can apply to a lot of things.
Uh-huh. I guess, I don't know. I guess I just don't know the actual term for that, but I'd say Good Place counts.
As a sitcom?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think as long as it focuses on comedy, I think you can kind of make it a sitcom.
Okay. So Man on the Inside, you would say, is not necessarily focused on comedy, but there are comedic elements to it. Okay.
It is focused kind of around.
It's a dramedy.
Yeah.
Okay. And maybe dramedies are taking the place of things too. I
don't watch enough TV to like have an actual like say in
clear vision of where TV is headed. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, like, I guess it's a couple years old now, but that one show I watched that was like what the hell was that show called? Oh, Kevin Can F Himself.
Yeah. That
one is like, okay, that is half sitcom, half drama, but really it means that it's a drama with just like this surrealist sitcom element magic system in place.
We're also, I think, just in a time where like comedies just doesn't rake in the viewers like it used to.
This is true. I'd be interested to see what comes next, I guess. I don't know where it's going. I don't have a clear vision right now. You need to ask me, like, hey, what's going to be the biggest shows when, like The Office and Parks and Rec were airing? Well, I'd be like, well, it's going to be something like that, because that formula is just hitting hard. It's funny. It's serious. Yeah. We care about the characters like that. But I just don't think they make shows like that stick around long anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We're really going off on a tangent.
That's
at the
fine.
end of this episode about anime movies. We're talking about live action TV shows.
We're now in an era where prestige TV is the more popular thing, so I just don't think networks are focusing on comedy.
Yeah.
So you're not getting those like generational comedies that we used to get.
Yeah. But maybe they'll come back, or maybe like you get the prestige TV, but some of those are comedic.
That's true.
Ted Lasso, I would call a prestige TV show, but it was funny.
It's comedy. Well, I think the issue now is like The Bear has won best comedy the last 2 years, and I think if you ask a lot of people, that's not
a comedy.
Not really a comedy.
Yeah, it's. But I can also see where somebody is like, yeah, there's comedic elements, and it's a better show than any comedy show out there. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Then I can see it. Yeah, it would win best comedy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like The Martian or something won like a best comedy. It's like there are comedic elements in that movie, and it's a damn good movie. But
that one I'm not so mad about. I don't know why people are mad. Like that movie's funny.
Yeah, it is a really funny movie. But it's just like I get the sentiment that you're kind of cheating when you pick something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I guess prestige TV until that finally dies, which I feel like is coming soon.
I have no idea. I don't have my pulse on that.
Well, I just feel like House of the Dragon is like a big prestige TV show thing right now, and I don't think that does near the numbers they want it to do. I don't actually know. Maybe it's doing fucking bonkers, but I'm just like, there's no way that's doing the numbers that Game of Thrones did. Mm-hmm. And then as prestige TV becomes more mainstream, it's going to be less of like it's going to be less special, is I guess the word I'm thinking of. It's going to be like, oh, hey, this show, the episodes are like an hour long, and it's serious and funny, and it's like watching a movie. That used to kind of mean something.
Now every streaming service has that type of show.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And they may be good, but there's just I think
too much.
Yeah, I think we're getting a flood of that, and we're gonna see something shorter come up and kind of dominate at some point soon. But I don't know what that's gonna be, because
maybe it's anime movies.
Maybe. I don't think that's gonna be it. But I mean, like,
try to circle back.
we're 30 now. We're the generation that really had easily accessible anime growing up and means more to us. So it's quite possible. I mean, it's way more mainstream now than it has ever been. Mm-hmm. That's true. And there's a lot of like professional sports players that like this shit, and big name actors. And I say this shit, I mean just nerd culture stuff in general too. Like, I don't know, like the fucking, what's the super tall basketball player with Timbe or something like that?
Dikembe Mutombo?
Maybe?
New or old?
New.
You're talking about
Current.
Victor Wembanyama?
Yeah, that's probably what I'm talking about. He's a big Brandon Sanderson fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Victor Wembanyama?
I'm fairly for sure there's a picture of him and Brandon like hanging out after a game or something.
Dude, that's awesome. I didn't know that. I'll say one thing. What is it? Arcane.
Yeah.
Not technically an anime, but apparently that's really high up on the Netflix watch list. So like, there is possible room for like animation.
Yeah, it's creeping. I just think the generation ahead of us needs to not have so much say. And even like, not even necessarily the generation ahead of us, but like my siblings who are 6, 7, and 8 years ahead of us, not their thing. Yeah. It's not their thing. It's definitely an us and a little bit above us thing. And there's some bleed over, because there always is to that, but it's just like, there's a reason why I'm super into it and none of my siblings are super into it, despite like me and my brother.
You're a big League of Legends guy, right?
I have played League against actual human beings maybe 5 times in my life.
Never.
Against bots maybe 5 times in my life. Never quite got good enough at it, and people were already good at it. Then I'm just like, whatever. that's a game I would hate to come into at this point because
Oh yeah, no chance.
I might play it against bots. It's the only thing that I'm like. But nobody, when I would play with other people, nobody would want to play against bots because they'd want to play against other people or whatever. They're trying to get their rank up or some shit. I just don't. I'm not good enough at any video game to play against real people.
Yeah. Anyways, you got anything else to say?
Yeah, I was gonna say that before you interrupted me, that even though I've got a lot in common with one of my older brothers, I just don't want to say names of people that aren't on the show.
That's fine.
But you know which brother I'm talking about.
Yes.
And it's like he's not quite. He doesn't get anime.
Yeah.
So he might get animation, but he doesn't get anime per se. So, yeah, I think it's definitely we've got a kind of this because we straddle the line between millennial and Gen Z. I think.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think
know where we're at.
We're almost in between those two, is what it is. I would say we're the very tail end of millennial. But I would not call us Gen Z, being 30 at this point. That just feels wrong. Gen Z, I think, is teenagers right now, and maybe some 20-year-olds.
Is that like Gen X or something?
No, Gen X is...
Oh, that's... Okay.
That's before.
Yeah.
Millennials are Gen Y.
Gen Y.
That's what they were called before.
Okay.
They got the name millennials. So...
Okay.
It's like baby boomers, then Gen X, then millennials, then Gen Z. And then Gen Alpha, it would be like my nephew's age, I think. Or maybe not even then. Maybe my niece's age would be Gen Alpha. But we extended this to like an extra 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about this
That
shit.
might have been our longest tangent ever. Oh, well, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. We're fine. We're happy now. Well,
Right.
You want to take us out?
Yep. Thanks for listening to this. Follow us on Twitter X at anime_territory. We're on most not YouTube, most podcast.
We're on most YouTubes as well.
We're on most podcast services, and we're on YouTube. Yeah.
You are now leaving the anime territory.
Goodbye.